Hello everyone! Welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into a fascinating topic that combines psychology, philosophy, and technology. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if someone could predict every one of your decisions? How do you think that would change the way you act? Hi, my name is Paige, and today I will introduce you to the Newcomb's paradox. Imagine you are faced with two boxes. The first box is transparent and always contains 1,000 euros. The second is opaque and may have €1,000,000 inside or be completely empty. Our target is to maximize the amount of money we will get. So on this case scenario, the obvious solution is to pick both boxes. You will get 1,000 plus the chance of getting 1,000,000. But now is when things become more interesting. We will introduce to the problem a new character that will change everything, an AI that has studied your personality and is able to predict your decisions. This AI will place 1,000,000 euros on the opaque box only if it's sure you will pick the opaque box. So here's the dilemma. Do you take only the opaque box hoping the predictor has put the million inside? Or do you take both boxes because regardless of the prediction, you at least secure the 1,000 euros from the transparent box? What would you do? If the predictor is always right, the better choice would be to pick only the opaque box. So our actions have been conditioned by the possible prediction of another entity. Now imagine the predictor is not always right. It has a fiability of 90%. The less we trust the predictor, the harder to make the decision. Now let's connect this to something very tangible. How polls influence voting behavior. Polls are like the predictor in Newcomb's paradox. They often predict the outcome of elections based on sampled opinions. This situation isn't just a mental game. The effect that appears in the paradox is used by elites to manipulate the people. A great example of this are political polls. Like the predictor in the paradox, polls attempt to forecast election outcomes by sampling public opinion. They aim to predict the future based on current data, but this can have unintended consequences. Imagine it's election season, and the latest polls show one candidate significantly ahead of others. Here's where the psychology kicks in, similar to the predictor's influence in Newcomb's paradox. If you support the leading candidate, you might feel your vote is less critical. After all, they're already predicted to win. This sense of security might lead you to skip voting, a phenomenon known as voter complacency. Conversely, if your preferred candidate is shown as trailing, this could spur a sense of urgency, motivating you and others to increase campaigning efforts. Or it might lead to defeatist behavior, where you and others assume the cause is lost and don't bother to vote. Polls can also trigger what's known as the bandwagon effect, where people choose to support a candidate just because they appear to be the likely winner. There's a psychological comfort in being on the winning side. On the flip side, the underdog effect can galvanize a base that loves to support a comeback story, potentially skewing the predicted outcome. More subtly, polls don't just predict outcomes, they can shape them. By continuously presenting a candidate as a frontrunner, polls might influence undecided voters. You thought political polls were to inform you about the future results of the elections? I'm afraid it was never about that. That's why, depending on who is the poll publisher, it shows so different results. It's another tool to push their candidates by manipulation. Newcomb paradox is often used as a marketing tool. Predictions are used not necessarily based on large amounts of data, but rather on created expectations meant to influence consumer decisions. This technique can be very powerful and manipulative. Consider the launch of a new smartphone. Before it is available, the company might declare that they expect record sales. This statement may not be based on detailed data analysis, but is intended to generate anticipation and excitement. The public, hearing these predictions, may begin to perceive this product as highly desirable and successful, which in turn motivates more people to want to acquire it as soon as it is available. In fashion, designers and brands often declare that certain colors or styles will be the next big thing. Although these claims might be speculative, they can significantly influence public perception. If enough influencers and media repeat the prediction, it can become a reality as people begin to buy these styles believing they are getting ahead of the trend. Events like special sale days are another example. Stores may announce that they expect products to sell out quickly. Although there may be no real indication that this will happen, many consumers plan to make purchases immediately, fearing they will miss out. This often results in massive sales based purely on the created expectation. These examples illustrate how predictions, even when not based on deep data analysis, can significantly alter human behavior. They make us question how much of our decisions are truly under our control and how our actions can be directed by what others expect us to do. The paradox can also have a more direct implications in our lives. Remember that the predictor is powerful the more you trust on it, so who we trust more normally than ourselves. When it's ourselves, the ones that makes a prediction, our will is really conditioned by this prediction. Think about our daily relationships. If you have an expectation about how someone will act, it can influence how you behave toward that person. And interestingly, this can lead to that person acting exactly as you expected, fulfilling your initial prediction. For instance, if you assume that someone you just met won't like you, you're likely to act more distant or critical toward them. Consequently, that person might respond by being less friendly, confirming your initial expectation. This phenomenon not only affects how we interact, but can also lead to cycles of negative behavior that reinforce our worst assumptions about others. If we believe a friend is dishonest, we might start treating them with suspicion, which could push them to withhold information, reinforcing our initial belief in their dishonesty. It's crucial to recognize and adjust our expectations to avoid falling into these traps. One way is to adopt a more open and communicative attitude, seeking clarity before forming judgments that could lead to unnecessary misunderstandings and conflicts. As we've seen with Newcomb's paradox and self-fulfilling prophecies, our expectations not only influence our decisions, but can actually change the outcomes in our lives and relationships. I invite you to reflect on how your own expectations have influenced your relationships and decisions. Are there situations where you might have acted differently if your expectations had been different? Share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. How do you think we can improve in managing our expectations to build healthier relationships and more informed decisions? Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and want to dive deeper into topics like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Until next time, keep questioning and exploring how your expectations affect your world. This was Paige Wise, expanding horizons together.